Hey everybody, welcome back to Wolff Weekly number 6. Thanks for joining us. Let us know in the comments that you're here, where you're from, and as always, drop your questions and we'll try to get to them as we get a chance. Our goal with these live streams are to provide tips and tricks and training and information, things that can be of value to you to help increase your business, help support your business, help grow your business. Whether that is through hands-on sharpening or through information about how to navigate some of the business struggles that we are having when Bill gives his business tips and things like that. So today we wanted to go into industrial scissors. We had a couple people send us emails and they are looking at wanting to diversify their portfolio and offer industrial scissors for sale, how to talk to the manufacturers that use these types of scissors and things like that. So that's a big topic of what we're going to do today. And then we're also going to sharpen some pinking shears. Before we jump into it though, I want to let you know my name is Caleb Sneed. I do sales and marketing here at Wolff Industries. And if you've been watching these live streams, then you've probably seen me before. We also have Kalen. He's on our sales team here, and he travels to a lot of these manufacturing facilities, and he'll be telling you a little bit about all of these scissors. People a lot of times think that we're twins or brothers, and I would say you can debate that in the comments, but we just showed our names, didn't we? So you saw our last names are different. But a lot of people come to the trade shows and think that we're related. But real quick before we jump in, we do want to remind you that we are running the special on the UFO tools and the ring sizers. And this is not available on the website. This is only available if you call us. I want to say on the website, a single UFO tool is about $2.50. So the promo we're running right now, if you call us, it is 5 UFO tools for $2.50. And that model number is UFO-5. So you can call us and tell us you want the UFO-5. You get 5 of them for $2.50. And then the ring sizers is a bulk pack of 100 ring sizers, different sizes, different colors, all that kind of stuff for $20. And that model number is Ring-100. So if either of those would be of interest to you or value as we are kind of ramping back up, give us a call about that. And also, it seems like a lot of salons and barbershops are starting to open. Here in South Carolina, they're opening next week. I've already got my appointment scheduled to get my hair cut. But let us know in the comments if you are noticing a ramp up in the business. We're just curious to know, what you're seeing out there. So thank you again for joining us. This is Kalen, and he's going to take us into industrial scissors.
Hey everybody, I'm Kalen Capel. I'm in sales and product management here in Wolff Industries. I'm here to talk to you guys about industrial scissors. So I have lots of different scissors here on my table. We're only going to talk about a few of these models and kind of what they're used for, the industries that you'll see them in. We'll start off here in the 5000 series and then make our way across the table. If you have questions, comments, hopefully I'll be able to answer them in between what we're talking about, or at the end, let us know in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them for you. I'm going to start off here at the 5000 series. The 5000 series are green handles. We have black handles, some pinks here as well. The 5000 series has a Rockwell of around 55 to 56. Why is that important? For an industrial aspect, they need something that's going to be able to hold up to what they're cutting throughout the day. And we sharpen these guys at around 35 degrees. It says it right here on the blade. The reason we sharpen them at 35 degrees is for blade retention. A lot of these scissors are used in the meat industry because they have chemically bonded handles. That way, whenever they're producing the chicken, none of the actual stuff gets in the handles. That way we're able to keep them clean, they're food safe, they're ergonomic, they have ergonomic handle design. This is actual right-handed shear. And then we also have left-handed as well, and we'll talk about the difference between left-handed and true left-handed a little bit as well. These scissors are used a lot in the industrial markets as well. So a lot of rubber manufacturers, industrial sewing shops, you'll see them in the composite industry. Composites meaning ballistics materials such as fiberglass, Kevlar, carbon fiber, any of those hard to cut materials. If you have a customer struggling to cut it, call us. We'll be happy to help you out, steer you in the right direction. We also have different lengths, so 12-inch all the way down to like your small 3-inchers. These right here, these little guys, I'm going to show them on this camera right here so that way you can see them. This is a 5100 series. So as you can see, there's a slight curvature to the blades. This is really important. Much like a dog groomer has to be able to get close to the animals to be able to trim closely, these guys are actually made to where they're able to trim flashing, rubber flashing for tires, rubber gaskets, anything like that. So if you see those out in the field, hey, you can resharpen them. They have the same Rockwell as these bigger guys, around 55, 56. So that blade retention is important for them, so that way they can go a long period of time without sharpening them. You even have these, which I'll show here on the smaller camera as well. These are the 5135 series. They are very berry, so they actually come with a blade sheath. They're really cool. That way you can pop that blade sheath over the blades and put them in a sewing kit, or a lot of industrial sewers like to use them so that way they can put them in their pockets as well and not hurt themselves. After that, you go to Threadsnips. There's many different kinds of Threadsnips. These right here are actually disposables, so there's no way to sharpen them really, but if you do see these, you can explain that to your customer and be able to say, hey, I don't have anything like that I can sharpen, but something like this actually has replaceable blades. You see right here, there's two little screws holding those blades into place, so that way you can take them out and replace the blades, or you can resharpen them as well. And then you go to your all metal, which has a wing nut as well as a little screw right there where you can pop the scissors apart and be able to sharpen them a few times and help your sewer out, or your homemaker or whoever is using these scissors to be able to keep the same pair of scissors that they love and be able to keep sharpening them. You also have something like this, which is a 5210. Same thing, you can curve any of these blades, ball tip them, blunt tip them, kind of whatever you need to. The reason we curve these are actually curved left. The reason they're curved left is so that way in the poultry industry or even the manufacturing industry, you're able to get close up to that product without damaging whatever they're cutting, and also be able to get the most yield or be able to get that fine cut that they're trying to get, that intricate detail that they're looking for. Trimming fat or whatever they are in the meat industry. That's kind of our 5000 series. We're going to move on to our 6000 series. Our 6000 series is actually USA made, so we are the last American made stamp scissor on the market. All of these scissors are manufactured in our facility in Columbus, Indiana. With these scissors right here, you have an ergonomic handle design. You have a couple different styles. You have a straight trimmer and a bent trimmer, which I'm going to go through over in a little bit, as well as you have many different colors. You have pink, green, purple, black, all of these colors. Yes, there are lots of colors, but they actually mean something. With the pinks, that's actually a small handle. So I'm going to show right here. If I'm just using this pair of scissors, which is a right-handed shear, and this is a straight trimmer, straight meaning it actually goes straight across whenever you're cutting. So whenever you're cutting, you're able to cut about chest high and be able to keep that ergonomic design, so that way you're not wrist fatiguing or arm fatiguing whenever you're trimming whatever you're cutting. The pink is a small handle, so I'm able to fit 4 fingers in there without any glove or any protective gear on. Especially in the meat industry, they have to wear about 3 different layers sometimes on their hand to stay safe, to keep from cutting themselves. And then you have a bent trimmer. So with the bent trimmer, this is mainly made for whenever you're cutting at about a table height or waist high. So that way they can still keep their ergonomic design and not have to bend their wrist in a particular way to where it doesn't cause any fatigue and stress. So the green handle is actually made for larger hands. And then the purple is a medium handle, medium size handle. All of these scissors are chemically bonded once again, so that way they are food grade safe. You can put them in the dishwasher. So if you have anybody that wants to buy scissors for home or, you know, barbecuing or anything like that, these are excellent scissors to be able to take home, use them. I have several in my own kitchen just so that way I can trim up whatever I'm cutting up for the barbecue that day. We have here blunt tip scissors. So the blunt tip scissors are excellent, especially for anybody that's doing a lot of upholstery work or working on a table, even, once again, meat processing. That way they don't puncture or ruin anything that they're working on, and cause imperfections and have to go back and fix whatever they just messed up. You have, once again, these scissors are sharpened at 35 degrees. They are a Rockwell of 58, around 58. That way, they're a nice hard scissor. They're going to hold up for blade retention. They come in many different colors, like I said. The black handles are actually made for lefties. These are left-handed shears, and they actually have right-handed blades. The reason for that is because most lefties grew up using right-handed scissors in their left hand. So how they cut and their cutting pressure is their brain knows how to cut with these scissors, as opposed to a true left scissor, which has blades opposite. So the thumb blade is actually on the opposite side as a left-handed scissor with right-handed blades. And then you go into the 6000 series that actually has a ball tip. The ball tip, if you're going and talking about meat processing or anything like that, even industrial sewers, is once again one of those safety precautions that they use in order to not puncture or cause any imperfections in whatever they're trimming. You also notice right here that we've cut down the tip a little bit. That's for us to be able to add that ball tip on there, so that way the blade is able to close properly and not affect the ball. So whenever you're sharpening these guys, for all you professional sharpeners out there, whenever you sharpen, you're going to sharpen as close to that ball tip as possible, so that way you do not remove that ball tip, because that ball tip can fall off, and that's what you don't want. And whenever you're sharpening a blunt tip shear, such as this blade, you don't want to sharpen all the way to the edge right here, so that way you don't cause a sharp edge on the end and then cause somebody to cut themselves. You would just sharpen all the way to the tip. And then you go into smaller scissors such as these, which are tender shears. They're just good for high leverage cutting. Even sewers, industrial sewers will really like these, so that way they're smaller blades. They can cut through thicker material and be able to not use as much hand stress. After that, we kind of go into the 7000 series, which is the highest end series that we have. This series was made for, all industrial aspects as far as sewers. They kind of take the place of an all metal shear. So this is probably what you're used to seeing if you've dealt with any industrial shears. This is what but all metals can look like after they get used for a very long period of time. They get rusty and, worn out. Same with any shears. But with these, they're much lighter weight, so whoever's using them typically doesn't have to use as much hand strength to be able to open and close these. They're very comfortable in the hand. They have a rubberized insert here, so that way they're more comfortable. The metal goes all the way through, I'm going to show it here, all the way through the finger and the thumb blades, so that way you get that extra strength whenever you're cutting. You have the double lock nut right here, so that way it doesn't loosen. or if it does loosen, it makes it a lot harder to loosen. These are actually sharpened at the knife edge. There's two different bevels on here for sharpening. So if you see these out in the field, just remember, sharpeners, you have two different cutting angles right there. With these shears, you do have a version, which is their 7250. You have a true left as well as a right-handed shear. Once again, that true left was made actually in these scissors because of Wolff Industries. We called out, and then Kai, whoever the company that makes these in Japan, actually made them for us, a true left version. So that way anybody looking for a true left-handed shear is able to use these. So the finger blade is on the reverse, the thumb blade right there. With these shears, you're actually able to cut through larger, like thicker amounts of material using less hand strength. And I'm going to demonstrate that here with Caleb in a little bit. He's going to be my hand model as I cut through about 48 layers of just standard cloth. So show you guys how easily it is to cut through this material without using a lot of hand strength. So right here, this is 32 layers. And his fingers are out of the way, so that way I don't cut him.
Yes, thank you.
But we have a nice clean cut to be able to cut through all the material. This is important, especially for any industrial manufacturer that's cutting through really fine fabrics like silks or even like velvets. They want a nice, clean, precise cut that's not going to cause much fraying. So that way they don't have to go back and fix any imperfections once again. It saves them time. So you have these guys as well, which these are a newer line that Kai came up with. These are their industrial sewing line, basically. It's like their crafting scissors. But if you want the same hardness and same Rockwell as in the larger scissors, but you want something with the blade retention, then a lot of people really like these because they're small, they're super sharp, and they're able to get into those intricate designs that they're trying to do, especially with quilters. A lot of manufacturers for sewing really like these. Rubber manufacturers really like these as well because they're able to clean them easily. These also, the 7000 series, are also the only scissors in the universe on the International Space Station. We actually designed these here at Wolff, and we designed these in order to cut their heavy strapping for their payloads, so that way they can use something that's obviously can't be used in space, but they're able to cut through all their heavy material. So as an industrial or as a professional shear sharpener, barber beauty sharpener, realize that 99% of your competition is in barber and beauty. There's not many of you guys out there that might be seeking after industrial, and that's a huge market because industrial will need sharpening constantly. They will need these scissors constantly sharpened, constantly refreshed. They will need help. Go knocking on some doors, go help some guys. You'll be able to sharpen these probably twice a month at around $10 a shear, something like that. Especially these guys, $10 for sharpening. You'll be able to do that, twice a month. Versus with a barber or beauty or grooming, they may need it only every 6 months. So lots of potential out there. If you have any questions as far as like what kind of industries can I go look at, we actually have a list of industries that Caleb will share later. We normally share that list at our Wolff trade show, but instead we're going to share it with you guys now, so that way you guys can start getting an idea of where can I look, how can I get there, what do I do to be able to expand my market to get more business. And we'd be happy to help you here at Wolff. Feel free to call me, Caleb, Dan, any of us. We'll be happy to help you out with what you need to be able to get into those doors.
We had a question. What do the 7000 series retail for?
They start at around $45, and then they go up to about the $110 range, depending on what you're looking for. So that's around what they start at. That's retail. Hopefully that helps answer your question. But if there are no other questions, once again, we'll be here. Feel free to call us. Caleb is now going to demonstrate pinker shears and how to sharpen those on the twice as sharp.
All right, cool. You can go ahead and still drop some questions in there about the industrial scissors if you have some, and we can still address those. Even though we're going to talk about pinking shears, I'm going to move a few of these kind of out of the way here from this overhead shot that we're going to use. And I want to give a shout out to Tim. I want to say it was maybe week 1 or week 2 that we were doing this. You asked about pinking shears, and that kind of stuck with us, so we want to make sure that we address that for you. So pinking shears were designed to keep natural fabrics from fraying when cut. So Kalen mentioned a few minutes ago how important it is that they get a really nice, smooth, clean cut on their fabrics when they are doing their sewing, especially in industrial sewing and especially looser weave kind of stuff like that. So pinking shears were designed to reduce fraying. They don't work as well on man-made synthetic fabrics that can tend to be a little stretchy. So when you talk with the customer who says that their pinking shears aren't working, try to get a little background on, how long have they not been working, when were they working, what type of materials are you cutting with it, that kind of thing, so that you have an idea of what you're getting into with the pinking shears, because pinking shears are tough. Once they stop working and stop cutting, it's kind of tough to get them going again. So you do need to kind of have a background kind of idea on them, and set the expectation with the customer with realistic expectations on getting these to work again or not. And it's very important that you inspect the scissors, because if somebody has attempted to sharpen them before and they have sharpened in between the teeth or tried to file in between the teeth and it's not working, you're not going to be able to fix that. It's just let them know what's happened previously and that it may be time to get a new pair of scissors. But once you open this up, we'll switch over here to this top view. Once you open this up and determine that there is no damage in between the teeth and nobody has previously tried to sharpen in between the teeth, the next thing you want to look for is the lap line. And I don't have my really cool macro camera up here this week, so we're going to throw a picture up on the screen here. This kind of shows you the lap line. It is the 2 different colors there on the metal. You've got that darker edge that darker color along the edge. That's the lap line. If the lap line is not there, then you can't sharpen them. They're not going to work. So right off the bat, you should be able to tell if you're going to be able to sharpen these or not based off that lap line. And that has to do with the manufacturing process. They use an abrasive slurry in the machining when they're opening and closing these scissors a lot, and it helps create that lap line. So that's kind of the critical thing right there. You have to have a lap line or they're not going to work. So we will jump back in here. So you're going to clamp. I clamp with the teeth facing up, and want to make sure that the teeth are all the way back against the clamp. It's pretty secure. This is one of my favorite scissors to clamp because it's going to get real secure in there. We'll go ahead and tighten that down. I'm going to throw on some safety glasses. Always need your safety glasses on. Pinking shears are a little different. They're going to be the angle here on the face, a little different from your standard bevel. They're probably going to be around a 0 to 5 degree. And right now this clamp is set at 35. So I'm going to loosen this up and we're going to slide down to 0. We're going to tighten that down and we're going to see if 0 is what we want here. always have a Sharpie. Sharpie is one of my favorite tools in the sharpening room. We use Sharpies all the time for little tricks. If you've ever seen our video on sharpening curved, grooming shears, Glenn uses a Sharpie to kind of mark off where he's at in the clamp, put marks on the wheel. Very helpful because it cleans off really easily with our scissors lubricant. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to color in the teeth here. This is going to help me see when I do a scratch test that I'm getting the whole tooth. And just bear with me as I color all these. You want to make sure you get all the way to the tip. We're going to color these in. All right. And then what I want to do is I want to do a scratch test. So I'm at 0 on my clamp. So I'm going to put it up here against the wheel and I'm going to do a little bit of a scratch test. And I'm just doing this with my thumb. You could do it with the machine turned on and touch it very lightly. But I kind of want to see where my scratch is at. I want to see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that in the light. But I am just back here on the back of the tooth. It did not get all the way to the tip of the V there. So we're going to have to change our angle. Let's take it all the way to -5, and that is as far as the clamp will let it go. And then so with the scratch test, you can turn the machine on, do a little touch, kind of check your angle, and you'll see here, I'm going to turn this off in case it's not making too much noise. You'll see here that the scratch test goes all the way to the end of the V there. So we're all the way at the back, and we're all the way to the tip here. And you'll see this is where the front one was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it here at -5. This is as far as the clamp is going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little bit of kind of upward forward pressure on the clamp here because I can't go beyond -5. And let's say this is slightly more than that. If you push a little pressure up on the clamp here, you're going to adjust that angle just a little bit. And what that's going to do is that's going to ensure that you hit those tips. Because if I run, I'm going to go ahead and run a grind across real quick. And I'm going to not put any extra pressure on the clamp. And we'll see if we can show this here. So that was just one real light pass, no extra pressure on the clamp. And you'll see that my grind is pretty good. I don't know if you can see in the light there, just the tips of the V of those little teeth still have Sharpie. And so that's one reason why I put Sharpie on there is I want to make sure that I've got nice, smooth, clean grind lines going from the back, from like the valley of these teeth all the way to the tip. So I'm going to make a couple more passes here, and I'm just going to put just a slight bit of pressure on the clamp, kind of in this upward forward position while I sharpen it. I'm not going to do too much. I don't want to put too much pressure that way, but just a little bit so we get those tips. And one thing to look, you can see here in the top-down view, these scissors open pretty wide. I mean, I could get all the way down here into the throat, but your cutting action is just here at the teeth. So you don't need to go all the way to the middle here. So if you see me starting and it looks like there's a lot left there on the left of the teeth, yeah, just you don't have to worry about that. Just that you're going from pivot to tip, from your farthest tooth all the way to the tip. So we're going to do that a couple more times. And then I want to look and make sure that my grind lines go all the way to the tip and there is no more Sharpie. Depending on how that hits, you should see that the Sharpie is gone. So I have successfully sharpened the edge on that blade. We're going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on this blade. This is sort of the similar process to sharpening a normal pair of scissors. You're going to sharpen one blade, sharpen the other blade, and then do the deburr process. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this machine off so it's not humming. I'm going to go ahead and color on this. Our clamp, should be set, but for this side as well, but I just want to be sure. It really helps me to see, so I'm going to go ahead and color this edge, and I think it'll help you guys see in the camera as well. Kalen, while I'm doing this, could you grab a paper towel? I'm going to cut on the paper towel instead of the double knit. All right. So we're going to do the same process here with this blade. Just putting ever so slight little bit of pressure on the clamp, kind of pulling up with my hands just a little bit to make sure that I get the tips of those teeth. Get just a little bit more. There was still just a little bit of Sharpie there. All right, and as you can see, I've got a nice smooth grind going all the way from beyond the valley of the teeth a little bit and then all the way through the edge. I'm going to take a look at the chat on my phone here real quick to see if anything's come through. Yeah, so I just saw that David Wolff is in the chat, and he's given some information there on the pinkers. He actually wrote an article, I believe it was published in the Sharpeners Report newsletter several months back on sharpening pinkers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find that article that he wrote, and I'm going to put it up as a blog on our website. So after we finish this session here, give me a little bit, and then be sure to check our website back under our technical blog, and it's got pictures and stuff in there too, and it's got an article that he wrote specifically on pinkers. All that to say, I'm gonna follow. Okay, David's answering questions. Appreciate that. So now I've sharpened both blades, so there is going to be a burr in between these teeth. We've created a new edge. We've created a burr. Now, I'm not going to be able to feel the burr necessarily, but know that it's there because you've sharpened a new edge. We've seen that by using the Sharpie. We're going to do our normal deburr method where we spread them apart as we close them, and then we pinch them to open them. So spread to close, pinch to open, and we do that 3 or 4 times, and then you should be able to make a nice smooth cut through there. Generally, we are going to recommend that you don't have to hone with a pair of pinkers. So go ahead and do your test cut. I don't have any natural fabrics, 100% natural fabrics on me right now, so I'm going to use the paper towel. The double knit kind of t-shirt synthetic stuff has that flex and that stretch to it, so it may not be the best test cut material for pinkers. It's really good for the industrial scissors, and it's what we use when we're sharpening out there on the production floor for the food industry scissors. All the industrial scissors, we're using this double knit type t-shirt material. But I am going to use a paper towel for this just so that we can see that we're getting a pretty good cut on these pinkers. If you've got 100% cotton, that is the best material to test cut with. So if you've got 100% cotton or the material that the customer is using, if you can get a swatch of their material, that's the best. If it fails to cut, then we can go over and hone. So you can hone the blade, and it's going to be the very similar process. You can Sharpie it if you want to or not, but since our clamp is set, it should be the same kind of process. So clamp it in, flip it over into the hone position. So a similar process here. If you apply just a little bit of pressure to the clamp, you're going to make sure that you get the polish all the way to the tips. But we're going to run a hone here real quick. We'll do an inspection. There we go. I just need to get right to the tips. There we go. And then we're going to cut this burr off. And because with pinkers, you want to get them to the point where they're working, because they are so finicky. You don't want to do too many steps to them and then take them beyond the point where they would have been cutting and working for the types of fabric. So if it fails the test cut, hone one blade and then cut that burr off. So we're going to cut the honing burr off, then test cut instead of honing the other blade. So we're going to go through our test cut again. If the test cut fails, you can hone the other blade and do that. If it still fails the cut, take a look at the fabric that's being used, inspect for damage in between the teeth, lapping line, all that kind of stuff again. You can do the sharpening process again. But if you've gone through the steps of what we've just done and it does not work in your test cut, there's a really good chance that they're just not going to work. We've seen pinkers not work kind of from the factory before. So it's they're made for a specific purpose, and the customer needs to know. Sometimes they don't realize that it's not going to work for all the types of fabric that they have in their room. And so you'll have to make a decision how much time do you want to put into them. But you can go through the sharpening process again, test cut, but I wouldn't spend too much time pulling your hair out. If you have gone through the process, you've seen that you've sharpened a new edge, you've deburred properly. If you've done all that and it's still not working, it's the scissor and it's not you. So I did want to touch on that. I'm going to jump in, see, looks like Bill and David are answering some questions, so I appreciate it. My phone's probably going to die anyway, so I may miss the questions. Dan can let me know if there's something I need to address on camera. I did want to make a quick mention that we put our clamp at -5, and that is as far as the clamp went or can go. And you will have noticed that it just didn't get the tips. That's why I wanted to tell you that trick of kind of applying a little bit of pressure here on the clamp to get that angle. We want to let you know that if you see that, don't immediately dismiss that you can't use the clamp to sharpen the pinkers. If you know how to use the machine properly, you can get really good consistent results with it. And I hope that is a running theme throughout all these sessions that we're doing, is that if you know how to use the machine and you're an expert on the machine, you can get really good, really solid, consistent results. Even on pinkers that the angle is slightly more negative than the clamp goes. And speaking of that topic specifically, that segues into next week. Next week we want to talk about the Okami Gold. I'm going to take my safety glasses off because they're fogging up on me. Next week we're going to talk about the Okami Gold, and specifically convexing with the standard clamp and then convexing with the convexing clamp. You can convex on the Okami Gold system with the standard clamp, and we want to show that process. So next week's going to be a deep dive. We're going to have Glenn back in here again. We're going to go real deep on convexing with standard clamp and convexing clamp. If you guys...
There was one thing they wanted us to show the
Got a
lapping
question.
line one more time.
Show the lapping line. Okay, yeah, he said he wants to see the lapping line another time. So there's the lap line again. The lap line is that dark color at the end of the cutting edge. You'll see that it goes, in this picture, it's almost kind of halfway down the middle. But that's definitely what you want to inspect to make sure that that is still there. So we're going to leave that up for a few seconds. And one thing that I can do is we can drop this picture in the description of the video after the video is posted on YouTube, so that you've got this picture for reference, because this picture shows that lap line pretty good. Kind of right down the middle. So if there is an arc to that lap line, if it doesn't go exactly down the middle and there's an arc and there's a few teeth there that don't have that lap line, that's kind of what you're looking for. We're going to jump in here. We're getting really good tips. Thank you, David and Bill and Ryan, for jumping in there and providing a little extra feedback on the pinking shears. Tim, I hope that answered some of the questions of what you were looking for with the pinking shears. If not, let us know and we'll address those questions as well. As always, give us feedback on how this is going, how the live stream is going. We want to make sure that we're catering this to providing really good feedback to help strengthen your business. Like I said, next week we're going to do the Okami Gold and convexing. But beyond that, we don't have plans. So if you've got something specific, let us know. Thank you to our regulars who've been here like every week. We appreciate seeing the names. We appreciate seeing all the different countries that you guys are watching from. These videos have been getting a worldwide reach, which is really cool. I'm excited that we've got people from all over the world in here talking and communicating and having a little bit of a community in the chat on these videos. It's really cool to see. So thank you guys. I believe that is it for this week. Next week's Okami Gold. Let us know what you'd like to see. But we will be back here doing this again. Same time, same place. See you then.